Today we have Cameron joining from the system builder team. He will be working on one of our ready-to-go PC builds and providing us with some general tips along the way. These are the parts we'll be working with.
So this is an AM4 socket CPU. This is an older generation, and this is the last generation to actually have pins on the CPU. It's more of a preventative measure to stop people from accidentally bending the pins on the CPU, because it's a lot harder to bend the pins on a motherboard, because CPUs are quite delicate and small and very prone to being dropped. So when installing the RAM, just ensure that you keep the notch lined up with the notch on the motherboard. And this is easier to notice on DDR4, but it also applies to DDR5, which is the current generation. Some motherboards might not have a pre-installed standoff for the SSD, and that's a pretty important thing to install beforehand, so the SSD doesn't bend downwards when it is installed. So for this CPU cooler installation, we're going to need to remove the stock mounting bracket that comes with this motherboard, because the CPU cooler has its own one. And now we're going to install the actual CPU cooler. It's already got pre-applied thermal paste, which means that we don't need to apply our own. Line it up so it's in the center, and we want to screw it on with even pressure on each side. This will make sure that the thermal paste is distributed evenly and not pushed all to one side. So when choosing a motherboard and case, it's good to ensure that they're actually compatible in terms of size. So if you're going to get a mini ITX motherboard, make sure you get a case that can accommodate that. So I'm just connecting the case to the motherboard. It's always good to review your manual to ensure which ones you have to connect and to where. Now, this GPU is quite light, so it doesn't have a sag bracket that comes with it, but some of the newer generation and high quality material GPUs will come with a sag bracket pre-installed, because they are generally a lot heavier. So this power supply that we're using is a non-modular power supply, meaning that all the cables are pre-installed, which saves a lot of time for us. So I'm just installing the power cables that come with the power supply into the motherboard. Each cable has a label that names what it's powering, and we're just going to install it into its corresponding header. Basically everything's done now.